This repetition of the word down means that, or symbolizes or teaches us that he who runs from God only ends up going down further and further into sin, and becomes a person who is downwardly sinking into sin. And we find him going down and down again, and going into a ship in the sea, knowing that the sea has salty water and will never satisfy. He who leaves God, and if we look at the first place he goes down to, it tells us that he went from the presence of the Lord, he went down to Joppa. And Joppa actually means beauty. So he who actually allows himself to be lowered down to the beauty of the sin of the world will find himself always hungry. He'll end up going into the ship, into the sea. He'll still be thirsty and will never quench his thirst. And then finally we're going to find in the end of the verse, he goes and he went down into the actual ship itself. Why did he go into the ship? He sleeps, and we'll see how he sleeps, but this was not a spiritual sleep. This is the sleep of one who wants to escape the reality of his life. Finally, he who decides to follow the beauty of the world and sinks into sin and sinks further into the sin of the sea, we find that the book goes out of its way to tell us that he paid his fare. He paid his fare. Yes, he's no longer the man of God. He's now the man of himself. He has to depend upon himself, upon his own income, upon his own abilities. He had to pay a fee. He's no longer the man of God depending on God. God who calls him to work, here we find that he makes a payment. This is always the case of the one who seeks the life of sin.